Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at phase two and the difference between phase one, which is just basic, real easy, complete the square, not messy, come out beautiful kind of problems. And phase two is that phase two gives us a coefficient in our quadratic in the a term. And we can't do the complete the square method with a value of a that isn't a 1. It can only be 1. So you're going to get it in the correct format. You're going to divide the a coefficient into all terms of the equation, and then you're going to continue on like we did for complete the square. So if you need to pause the video, so write this down, please do so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started with our first example. I have 2 examples for you to look at, and then you'll have one to try. Example 1 was 2x squared minus 16x minus 1,768 equals 0. And what we want to do is we want to make sure we get it in the correct format before we worry about this coefficient here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this coefficient and I'm going to add it to the right. I want to get the c value over here. So I'm going to have a 2x squared minus 16x equals positive 1768. The next step I'm going to do is I need to handle this coefficient here. So whatever number is in the front, whatever this a value is, that's what you have to divide everything by. So what makes phase two so glorious is that when I divide this by 2 and this by 2 and this by 2, they're all even numbers. And that means that when I go and divide, it's going to come out nice and pretty. X squared minus 8x minus, or excuse me, equals 884. Okay? So this is like, oh, okay, this is in ready to do our complete the square method. We're ready to rock. We have it in the correct format. Everything is good. We are going to look for our B term. Our B term is negative 8. I'm going to take half of negative 8. So I'm going to do negative 8 divided by 2. Half of negative 8 is negative 8 divided by 2. And that gives me negative 4. Don't forget that after we take half of our thing, we still have to square it. So negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And that is what we are going to be adding to both sides of equals. Okay, so we take half of our b term, which is negative 4. We're going to square it. We get positive 16. We're going to add that to both sides of equals. And now we're ready to literally complete the square. Here's our square term. This trinomial is going to be a square. When you do it, the negative 4, the half of the b term goes here. Okay, it's like a little hack or a cheat. And then 884 plus 16 is 900. We've just completed the square, which means that we got the square term to happen. Now we're going to our square root method to solve. So we're going to take square root of both sides because this square and square root are inverses. Don't forget plus or minus 900. I'm sorry, plus or minus square root 900. Square root of 900 is 30. And then we split them up. X minus 4 equals positive 30. X minus 4 equals negative 30. And we're going to add 4 and get 34. We're going to add 4 and get negative 26. So here are our roots, our solutions, our zeros, our x-intercepts, our answers to this system using, well, not a system, but this equation, this function, using complete the square method. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and give you one more to look at. Again, another one that's a phase 2 that has a coefficient in it for us to do. Grab my pen. You get 2 examples and then 1 practice. So you're looking at 3 of each type. All right, here's our second example. 5x squared plus 60x minus 140 equals 0. We got to get it in the proper form. Proper form means we're going to bring the 140 over. That's first. We only want ax squared plus bx equals c. This 140, when you add it over, it becomes positive. The next thing we have to do is get rid of this coefficient. This coefficient 5, can't have it. So we're going to divide everybody through by 5. Even this side. That's what a lot of people mess up on. They forget that part. 60 divided by 5 is 12. And 140 divided by 5 is 28. Now I'm ready to complete the square. Find my b value. Ooh, it's a positive one. Yes, you can have positive ones too. We're going to take half of our b value. 12 divided by 2 is positive 6. Half of b is positive 6. Then we're going to square it. 6 times 6 is 36. And we're adding that to both sides of equals. Okay. When we go to complete the square, there's our square. This is what, 64? Isn't that pretty? And then, of course, this square is the positive 6. That part. Yes. Now we're going to do our square root method to solve this. Notice they give you a nice, pretty one here. That's because it's only phase 2. So take the square root, both sides. I'm going to get x plus 6 equals plus or minus the square root of 64. Stay with me. I'm going to move over to the side here. I ran out of paper. I have x plus 6 equals, the square root of 64 is 8. So plus or minus 8. And then I'm going to have x plus 6 equals 8. And x plus 6 equals negative 8. So subtract 6. And you're going to get 2. Subtract 6. Careful here with your integers. You get negative 14. So our roots, our solutions, our answers, our zeros are 2 and negative 14. There you go. Now go on to the next slide. Try your phase 2 question, and I will see you in a second.